Krishna Krishna Hare 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 Rama 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 Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Ram Hare. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Rama, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Krishna, Krishna, Hare Hare, Rama Rama, Hare Hare. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol, Hari Bol, Hari Bol. Nitai Gaura Hari Bol. Hari Bol. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada, Prabhupada, Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. Jaya Jaya Prabhupada. हरिनाम संकीर्तन यज्ञ की जय, श्रील प्रभुपाद की जय, समवेत भक्त वृंद की जय. हरे कृष्णा. Prabhuji, can I have a glass?
Water.
I have water, just 2 glasses. Ah, yes. It's a ID, Prabhuji, Zoom ID. Just I'll take it out. Yeah, just wanted to join. Hare Krishna. Om Namo Bhagavate Vasudevaya.
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 Today we are reading from Canto 4, chapter 25 and verse 5. Rajovacha
Rajovacha.
Na janami mahabhaga
Janami Mahabhaga.
param karma pavidhati
Param karma pavidhati.
param karma apavidha
Param karma
idati sorry param karma pavidhati
pavidhati.
brohi me bimalam jnanam
Vimalam jnanam.
yena muchyate karmabhi
Yena muchyaya karmabhi.
rajovacha
Rajovacha.
na janami mahabhaga
Janami Mahabhaga.
param karma pavidhati vidhi
Param karma pavidhati.
brohi me bimalam jnanam
Me vimalam jnanam.
yena muchyate karmabhi
Yena muchyaya karmabhi.
rajovacha
Rajovacha.
na janami mahabhaga
Janami Mahabhaga.
param karma pavidhati
Param karma pavidhati.
brohi me bimalam jnanam
Me vimalam jnanam.
yena muchyate karmabhi.
Yena muchyaya karmabhi.
Can repeat somebody.
Rajovacha.
Rajovacha
न जानामि महाभाग
न
जानामि महाभाग परं कर्मापविद्धधिः परं कर्मापविद्धधिः ब्रूहि मे विमलं ज्ञानं ब्रूहि मे विमलं ज्ञानं येन मुच्येय कर्मभिः राजोवाच
Rajovacha
न जानामि महाभाग
न janami mahabhaga
कर्मापविद्धति
param karma pavidhati
मे विमलं ज्ञानं
brohi me bimalam jnanam
येन मुच्येय कर्मभिः
yena muchyaya karmabhi.
उवाच
Rajovacha
जानामि महाभाग
na janami mahabhaga
परं कर्मापविद्धति
param karma pavidhati
ब्रूहि मे विमलं ज्ञानं
brohi me bimalam jnanam
येन मुच्येय कर्मभिः
yena muchyaya karmabhi. Word to word translation and purport by His Divine Grace A.C. Bhaktivedanta Swami Srila Prabhupada ki jai. Raja Uvacha, the king replied, Na, not, Janami, I know, Mahabhaga, O great soul, Param, transcendental, Karma, by fruitive activities, Apavidha, being pierced, Dhi, my intelligence, Bruhi, please tell, me, to me, Bimalam, spotless, Jnanam, knowledge, Yena, by which, Muchyaya, I can get relief, Karma bhi, from the fruitive activities. Translation. The king replied, O great soul, Narada, my intelligence is entangled in fruitive activities. Therefore, I do not know the ultimate goal of life. Kindly instruct me in pure knowledge so that I can get out of the entanglement of fruitive activities. Purport. Sri Narottam Das Thakur has sung सतसंग छाड़ी कइनो असते विलासा ते कारणे लागी लये karma bandha phasha. As long as a person is entangled in fruitive activities, he is bound to accept one body after another. This is called karma bandha phasha, entanglement in fruitive activities. It does not matter whether one is engaged in pious or impious activities, for both are the causes for further entanglement in material bodies. By pious activities, one can take birth in a rich family and get a good education and a beautiful body. But this does not mean that the distress of life are ultimately eliminated. In the Western countries, it is not unusual for one to take birth in a rich aristocratic family, nor it is unusual for one to have a good education and a very beautiful body. But this does not mean that Westerners are free from distresses of life. Although at the present moment, the younger generation in Western countries has sufficient education, beauty, and wealth, and although there is enough food, clothing, and facilities for sense gratification, they are in distress. Indeed, they are so distressed that they become hippies, and the laws of nature force them to accept a wretched life. Thus, they go about unclean and without shelter or food, and they are forced to sleep in the street. It can be concluded that one cannot be happy by simply performing pious activities. It is not a fact that one who are born with a silver spoon in their mouth are free from material miseries of birth, old age, disease, and death. The conclusion is that one cannot be happy by simply executing pious or impious activities. Such activities simply cause entanglement and transmigration from one body to another. Narottam Das Thakur calls this karma bandha phasha. King Prachina Brahisa admitted this fact and frankly asked Narad Muni how he could get out of this karma bandha phasha, entanglement in fruitive activities. This is actually the stage of knowledge indicated in the first verse of Vedanta Sutra, Athato Brahma Jigyasa. When one actually reaches the platform of frustration in an attempt to discharge karma bandha phas, he inquires about the real value of life, which is called Brahma Jigyasa. In order to inquire about the ultimate goal of life, the Vedas, Mundaka Upanishad 11.2.12 enjoin Tad Vijnanartham Sugurum Ivavigachet. In order to understand the transcendental science, one must approach a bona fide spiritual master. King Prachina Varisad found the best spiritual master, Narad Muni, and he therefore asked him about the knowledge by which one can get out of the entanglement of karma bandha phas, fruitive activities. This is the actual business of human life. Jiva satatya jigyasa nartha yascheha karmabhi. As stated in the second chapter of the first canto of Srimad Bhagavatam 1.2.10, a human being's only business is inquiring from a bona fide spiritual master about extrication from the entanglement of karma bandha phas. Hare Krishna. Om Ajnanatimirandhasya Jnananjanasalakaya Chakshuronmilitam Yena Tasmai Shri Gurave Namaha. Namo Vishnupadaya Krishna Pristhaya Bhutale Srimate Bhaktivedanta Swaminiti Namini. Namaste Saraswati Devi Gauravani Pracharini Nirvishesha Sunyavadi Paschata Desatarini Vancha Kalpatarubhyascha Kripa Sindhubhya Eva cha पतितानां पावनेभ्यो वैष्णवेभ्यो नमो नमः. जय श्री कृष्ण चैतन्य प्रभु नित्यानंद श्री अद्वैता गदाधार शिवासदि गौर भक्त वृंद. हरे कृष्णा 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 हरे 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 राम 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 हरे हरे. Hare Krishna. So thank you very much for giving me an opportunity to share the glories of Bhagavatam. It's only with the mercy of Guru Parampara we can discuss something. So we are in this beautiful section of Bhagavatam where we have been hearing about how these prachetas, they got instructed by Lord Shiva through this Rudra Gita. And the last weekend, Prabhuji said very beautifully the glories of Rudra Gita. And after hearing the glories of Rudra Gita, right, all the prachetas, they went to perform austerities for 10,000 years. And in the meantime, Narad Muni, he came to the father of the Prachetas, Prachini Barhisat. And and he saw that, like, how this king is completely entangled in so much of fruitive activities. And then he thought that how to really enlighten, so how we can transform this entanglement person to an enlightenment person through the proper engagement. And this is a beautiful story that is coming up, because it is said that Upadesa hi murkhanam prokopaya na santaya. Like if you give some advice to a fool or who is completely entangled, who doesn't know what is right or wrong, and then instead of being grateful, you'll become angry. So Narad Muni, like, he's a perfect preacher, right? Like he knows how to preach and cultivate kids, like Dhruva Maharaj, or he goes and preaches the hunter, Mrugari, right? Or here he preaches like this king Prachini Barisat, or he preaches the mother, right, who is about to give birth, like Kayadhu, the mother of Prahlad Maharaj. So right, or even to extend Kailas, right, who was also completely whose life was completely messed up, right, and was completely attached to his family life, right. So like Prabhupada says, like, a perfect preacher means, like, based on the capacity of the psychophysical nature and the capacity of the audience, right? He gives this message, right, so that he can digest and he can assimilate and he can appreciate and he can really apply into the life. It's not that, okay, I'm just speaking, right, whatever is the absolute truth, but then how do I really convey that message so that the recipient or the audience also able to digest it and really get nourished and really feel enlightened. So here once Narad Muni comes and meets this Prachini Barisat, and this is the first verse, he's speaking, he's saying, and directly to the point, because we understand, right, like, yeah, maybe something is going wrong, and directly he jumped onto the point. Oh, my lord, oh, like Narad Muni, right, please tell me what is the goal of life. And for your information, because this is the two verses very beautifully, Prachini Barisat speaks, I'll just read the translation as well, and the verse and translation, because they are very related. And here in the second verse, like in this verse 6, Prachini Barisat is saying that, right, how, like, including me, all the people are interested in so-called beautiful life. What is that beautiful life they talk about? गृहेषु कूटधर्मेषु पुत्रदारधनार्थधि नापरं विन्दते मूढा भ्रम्यन् संसारवर्त्मसु. Those who are interested only in so-called beautiful life, namely remaining as a householder, entangled by sons and a wife and searching after wealth, think that such things are life's ultimate goal. Such people simply wander in different types of bodies throughout this material existence without finding out the ultimate goal of life. So, like we see that the beginning of Bhagavatam, the conversation of even Narad Muni to Vyasadeva, as soon as Narad Muni comes, because the presence of an enlightened person, right, really you feel that yes, you start introspecting, you start thinking that, right, what exactly is going wrong, maybe this is what it is, right, and then you start submissively ask right questions. And then he realizes that, yes, what I am doing, and I'm engaged in karma kanda, fruitive activities. And then second thing, what I'm doing kuta dharma. And what is it, kuta dharma? This so-called false occupational duties. I think that like the duty, if I take care of my citizens, I take care of my family, and make them really so-called happy, right? And here, like Prabhupada gives very nicely that a person cannot be happy, right, in a place which is miserable, right? We cannot redefine this place which has been already given by the Lord, as a place of correction, as a place of punishment. And so here, very beautifully, he talks about how people are so miserable, and especially like we hear in Bhagavatam, there are two kinds of householders. Basically, here you're talking about householders, right? There are two kinds of householders. One is called Gruha Medhi, another is Gruhastha. So what they do, their aim is how to get happiness. But I was hearing like Mahavishnu Goswami Maharaj says, you cannot be just happy here, right? But the devotees, they are really looking for the bliss. And how you can get the bliss? By take the blessing of Bhagavatam and the devotees. Right? Yes, but somehow or other, once you talk about Gruha Medhis, they are entangled. And Prabhupada uses this entanglement again and again. Why? Because, like, as we have seen in this Bhagavad Gita, this beautiful picture, right? How these three modes of nature, right? Because of our conditioning, how we got a body, right? Like as we told, right? This is a place of correction. This is a jail, right? And once you go to the jail, right, you get a specific dress, right? And based on your activities, you get a different, a cell, right? So here, like, or you get a different, chains. Like, if there is this nice story, right? Like one king was there, and he had gone out, and then he had his daughter, and then, right, like this princess was always right with her friends. Like one was the daughter of the minister, one was the daughter of the treasurer, right? And I was playing, and somehow another prince, son of a king, came along with his friends, who was the son of a minister and the son of a treasurer, and then they somehow started meeting and exchanged their relationship, and then they wanted to marry, like at each other level. And then, but then king understood, and once he came that, like, what is all happening, or who is this, who are these three boys, and how they are in the palace? And then they said, okay, because they have come right without my permission, so let them be bound and kept in the prison, right? But the son of the king, right, the prince, he should be bound with the golden chain. The son of the ministers, he should be bound with the silver chain, right? And or the son of the treasurer, okay, let him bound by the iron chain, right? So yes, which is better? Yes, somehow or other, right? Somebody is born with a silver spoon, right? And here Prabhupada says very nicely that whoever we are, right, we are given this body, either a tree body or an animal body or this human body, right, based on our conditioning, based on our karma. And then, right, we are bound by the different modes of nature, like the goodness, passion, or ignorance. And because of that, right, that's really driving us to crazy, right? And everybody is so mad, right, just to get a little bit of this flickering happiness. And especially Dayamra Swami Maharaj, he was giving a seminar, and he was saying that the motto of the today's world is what? Work, then buy, consume, and die. Work, buy, consume, and die. And that's what everybody is doing. And then I was thinking a little bit more to this. And then I was thinking that, especially if you asked in today's COVID scenario, like you work, you ask somebody, you call somebody and say, that, no, yeah, I'm working. Right? You call in the evening or at night, no, I'm working, I don't have time. And then you call sometime in the weekend, Saturday, especially our calling party, they would be, no, I'm working, I don't have time. Like what, now it has changed? No, work, buy, consume, die. So then I extended, like, okay, it should be www.bcd.com. This is the life of the today's people. What they do, work, 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 buy, consume, die, and get completely exhausted, and be completely useless. Is this the life of a human being? Like how our acharyas, they are so compassionate, right? Here in this case, right? Like how understanding the suffering of the soul, they come down, they come down to give this message that yes, you know, uh, you have been given this precious human body, right? Why don't you use it properly? Is it this the reason that you just you know planning to get a little bit of this broken pieces of glass where we can get really, where there is no misery, right? So people are so much of an anxiety at this point of time. That's why we call it a high kuntha, right? But then Lord and devotees, they are coming. You can go to Vaikuntha. You can really go to Vaikuntha from this place, which is this high kuntha. And there is so much of anxiety. There is a danger and there is a problem at every step, right? Everybody is suffering because of some bodily problem, right? Either some disease or some pain, or right, or something, right? Or it could be nowadays, people talk about so much about this mental and emotional problems, right? Like yesterday we had this parenting seminar, right? And then a lot of these parents, they were asking, right, how to avoid or ensure that our kids don't get stressed up, don't get anger, they don't become arrogant. And then we asked, like, how many of you have that quality? Right? Yeah. like yeah, so yes, we want our children, right, to be like having all this sattvic qualities, but do we have that first of all, right? And and especially during this time where like we are just bound in this four walls, uh, right, of like in the home, and there's so much of stress at home. And there is people are talking about there's an increase in this depression, increase in this divorce, and so many things, right? And then right, like how people are consumed by so much of negativity all around, right? But then yes, some pious people, right, some pious people, what they do, they still organize, okay, we'll do some puja, do some uh, devatas, to get some benefit, like very beautiful in 11th canto, they said chayeva karma sachiva, like like the demigods, and they are karma sachivas, and they are like the accountants. You give something and they will give you something, right? So like yes, some pious people, right, from the animalistic life, they come to list a pious life, right, where they do some fruitive activities. But then whatever we get out of it, right, either in terms of um, karma, to enjoy some senses, right, or to go to heavenly planets. But then you hear that even that's also temporary, right? Even you talk about Indra also uh, is suffering. He's so much of anxiety, or sometimes because of conditioning, he has to come down as a hug, right? And then he gets so much of attached within that body with his family life and so on, right? He feels that, oh, it is so good. I was just hearing today morning only from Prabhupada, right, that how everybody, whatever the material body that we get, right, like we get so puffed up, we get so puffed up that, oh, you see, I am the greatest, right? Especially Bhakti Vigyan Goswami Maharaj, saying that, like once, he met a person and he was saying that, yes, while he was in 10th grade or so, like he said that, I wanted to be the greatest, scholar, right, by studying so much. And then after some point of time, then that person was saying to Maharaj that, then I realized that that was not possible. That's not there. And then I said, okay, I joined the army. And then I said, I want to be the, the commander in chief of the army. And then he realized after a couple of years, it's not possible. And then he left everything. And then, especially, even we join right? Even our movement as well. And then, oh, I want to be the greatest devotee. Right? Because somehow or other we need to realize that as long as we have this body, right, and that conditioning that me means it has to be great, and but we need to realize that like that this we have this body means we are diseased. Nyunam pramata kurute vikrama, like in this verse, Rishabdev is saying to his sons, right? Like you have received this body means you are diseased, because of our past sinful life. We have been given this body. When this is the disease, this is the dress of a prisoner. This is a klesa the asan deha. This body is meant to give the klesa. This body is meant to, like, this is a vyadhi mandira. We cannot really change it. So here at this point of time, yes, we are talking about how some people, either you go to even the heavenly planets by doing some fruitive activities, also you come down, or there are some more another section of people who do some yogas and through jnana, right? They wanted to do neti through the philosophical speculation. They wanted to reach the impersonalist or Brahman, right? But then even the demigods, even they are saying aruya kurchena parampadam tata. Even after some point of time, they also get bored with that, with so much of this Brahma Jyoti, that they also fall down, right? That's why Narottam Das Thakur says, karma kanda jnana kanda kevala visara bhanda. This is just only a poison, both of this, and how we have this opportunity, right, to take this process which is given by Mahaprabhu. Because this jnani, this impersonalist, what they feel, okay, all this material, right, I don't want to get attached to them. I just got detached, right? But like, it's so difficult, right? How many persons can do it, or how far we can go following that process? But Mahaprabhu has given this beautiful process that how we can transform, right, this material energy to the spiritual energy, right? Like, you don't need to be a magician, right? But what he's saying that, right, how whatever the Lord has given to us, whatever it is, right, either as a family or whichever ashram or whatever we do it, right, how we can engage everything in the Lord's service, right? That's it. So simple, right? Even for a devotee also, right? Like, we think that, okay, coming to the center, or chanting time, or kirtan time, or satsang time is my spiritual time. The rest all is my material time, like going to the office, interacting with the family members, taking care of the families, all material. And that's why we'll all talk about how to balance material and spiritual life and so on. But our acharyas are showing with example that for a devotee there is no two life. There's only one life. There's only spiritual life, right? So just we have to understand, we have to learn how to transform and how to see every situation, that how can I really engage for Krishna, right? If I'm going to work, I see that, okay, this is also the whatever I get, whatever I do here, for the pleasure of Krishna. I have this family, okay, these are the family members, so these are once again the part and parcel of Krishna, and they have been given like with me, right? And I have to take care of them, right? This is my responsibility. So there is nothing material in a devotee's life, right? And how it is so beautiful, right? So how you can be really free from all the anxieties, right? Because if we are get attached to something, right? Because if you think that this is ours, right, then we feel so much get attached to it. Or if that does not satisfy me, we get so detached or so angry upon it. But if we think that everything belongs to Lord and everything is happening around me is the arrangement of the Lord, how a person will be so blissful, right? Yes, like that's how the acharyas, they come us sometimes, right, to give us the right eye so that we can see from the suta iksita, we can hear, and that's how we can get this darshan. It's so beautiful process. So like, yes, sometimes, right, we keep that nowadays one rupees coin is not available, maybe 10 rupees coin. We put so close to the eyes and we see that, oh, I cannot see anything, I cannot see anything. And then the acharyas come in and they take away, those coins. And then we start crying, oh, my coin is gone, my money is gone, my wealth is gone. because they get attached or they start crying. And then Ajay said, now look what you have. Right? You see this wonderful opportunity, wonderful world, whatever the Lord has created. Just see that. Right? Like this acharyas, they come us, right, to take out that coin, to take out that some maybe the attachment, right? And then they really gave us this blissful life to us. Right? So how our acharyas have given very beautifully this process, how we can transform whatever we have into Krishna consciousness. This is our movement. How to see Krishna everywhere, in every situation, in everyone's. Right? This is it. It means to be Krishna consciousness. And so how to do it? We thought that today, whatever little time we have, we'll understand from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He has written a nice book called Bhaktya Loka, and he has given nice duties, the word exactly, the responsibilities, how we can transform ourselves from this entanglement to enlightenment through the proper engagement. He has given very beautifully, quoting from Mahaprabhu and his followers. And yes, like we always say that we have to quote the authorities. Like, yes, we don't know what is right and wrong, right? For us, like our decision box of right and wrong, initially it starts with, okay, it feels good, it looks good, it tastes good, through our senses we visualize it. And then as we progress, we think that, okay, and our decision box becomes, okay, it is moral, it's immoral, it's ethical, non-ethical. But then as we move further, like try to become a devotee, then our decision box changes to okay, it really pleases Guru and Krishna or not, right? And then what exactly they had done it, right? So now we'll because Mahaprabhu he has come as a devotee to teach us how to follow bhakti, and his wonderful associates as well, right? So we'll just talk about it. So before that, like last month especially, I was going through this, I was suffering from this dreaded disease, and I just had few realizations I thought I just want to share, and then we will proceed further. Right. So we said that during this point of time, the first and most important thing is to realize that I am diseased. Because most of the times, we don't even know that I'm having, some virus or some bacteria or some, disease, or right, that I don't know, right? Even sometimes you get the test also, test report comes negative, but then, you're having all the symptoms. All the symptoms, you're having coughing, you're having high fever, you're having respiratory problems, and think you're doing good. And then you go around and do all that stuff, and not only you get infected, you get disease, and you make everybody also miserable. That's what it is, right? Right? And then, that's the first step is to, understanding the symptoms, as you said, right? Understanding the symptoms, you need to realize that yes, I am diseased, and then we need to do that proper test, right? And then the second thing is that once we know that we are diseased, we have to approach a right hospital, right? We have to approach a right hospital, right? Like nowadays also people either, with a little, they give it to the ICU and charge lakhs of money per day, or they put you in the street, right? So you have to understand also which hospital you have to approach once you understand that you are diseased, right? And then you seek the advice, right? Seek the advice from the right doctor. Right? Yes, there could be so many things, right? Like we cannot approach this doctor or that doctor. You have to approach like maybe pulmonologist or right, whichever is the relevant doctor, right? And then once you seek the advice of right doctor, and then what he gives, he tells us what you should accept, what is favorable for you, right? And you should avoid what is unfavorable for you. What should you accept? Yes, right? Like usually, right? What are the kind of medicines they give? They give 3 kinds of medicines. The first medicine they give is that, like, okay, you have a fever or you have some respiratory problem. Okay, if a fever, okay, give some analgesic or antipyretic, like to reduce the fever, or just to reduce the cough, or this try to reduce that, right? And the second thing, right, they give some antibiotic or antiviral, or right, all these tablets, so that it can kill all the bacteria or the viruses and so on, right? And third thing they also give is some anti-prophylactic, like they say, like all the vitamins, vitamin C, vitamin D, vitamin B12, iron, calcium, so many things, right? Three things, right? So, and I was thinking that how it is true even for our this human life as well, for our spiritual life as well, right? How we should understand that, yes, we have this anarthas, means I am diseased. I have this anarthas, means I have diseased. I am in a disease condition, right? Like if something happens, right, I get this anger. Something happens, and I get really so much attached to it. All my senses get really, stands up, right? And then, right, I need to really approach the right hospital. Yes, there are so many supermarket is there, right? Or in the so-called religious and the spiritual lifestyle as well. But I need to go to the right place where, right, I can get the right cure, right treatment, right? Who can diagnose my problem properly and who can give me proper treatment. And in that hospital also, I need to go, to the right doctor, right? Who is free from all the diseases, so that he doesn't give his disease to us, right? And then by following him, we really get purified, right? And then, yes, Lord has given the medicine, right, of the holy name. Lord has given the medicine, right, through what, right, through this, right, like sarva amangala hare prem diya hare man, right? It takes away all our miseries, and it gives the prem. It gives gives that booster, right, through which we can really go to the the spiritual world, right? It really helps us in removing all the viruses, right? It really helps us in seeing how to deal with this material world, right? To whatever the fever, the tapas are there, like the three tapa, and so on, how to deal with that. It helps in removing the distress of a person, and right at the same time, it really helps us in giving that spiritual energy so that we can fight strongly against whatever the disease that might come. It really brings us our immunity, right? And then, having said that, yes, we should also avoid. That's why Prabhupada has given these 4 regulative principles. Right? So as long as, right, I do all that nonsense and I'm taking medicine, and it's not going to help. Yes, it might help a little bit. We cannot say it's not going to help, but it will take so longer, and we don't know what is going to happen, right? To take 1 life or 2 life or 3 life, and that's why we hear so many stories in Bhagavatam, right? Bahu janme kare yadi sravana kirtan tavuta na paye Krishna pade premadhan, right? Yes, yes, definitely. Just when chanting the holy name, it's so powerful, right? Definitely, it has its effect. But then, right, if you want to really stay in that ICU and in that condition for months, or right, I wanted to get out of it and come out of the hospital as soon as possible, right? In the hospital as well, right? Like once you're in the disease condition, right? Sometimes you're put in the general ward, sometimes in the ICU, right? Like in the ICU means like you're in a grostha life. You're giving so much care. General ward means like brahmachari life, right? So much attached, their only business is that, okay, how can I get free from the disease, and if somebody is there, then I can also help them. And then I'll come out. But ICU, like, or in a like in this private ward, oh, nurse is coming, oh, checking, oh, sir, are you good? Oh, yeah, oh, thank you very much. Oh, there is a nice TV. People get so much attached to it. Right? So like but the main purpose of going to be in the hospital is how quickly I can come out of it, right? But are we having that urgency within us? Do you have that urgency? And do you know that how to take that medicine, that whatever is given by acharyas, the representative of Mahaprabhu, because Mahaprabhu is a supreme doctor. He is giving the sweetest medicine that can cure us in the shortest period of time, which is the most powerful thing, without any side effects. Right? And we are just ignoring it. And Narottam Das Thakur, he's saying this beautiful song, Gora poho na bhajiya maino, satsanga chhadi. Like, I'm just left the satsang and I'm just, engaged in so much asatsang. I'm just, forgotten the nectar. I'm just drinking the poison. You see what sorrowful condition I am. And what will say that to person, right? Who is in so much of disease condition, and still he is, ignoring everything, disowning everything, and not really listening to. Just a mad, right? Then our acharyas, right? How they come and to house, like you don't have to even right go to somewhere, right, to get treated. Like they are coming to the house. Yes, in Narad Muni is coming to Prachini Varisat, right? Or the devotees, calling, and the devil, please take it, please take the medicine, right? They do the house visit, right, just to ensure that they get this medicine properly. So yes, right, as we're talking about that, how especially Narad Muni is a perfect preacher, and he goes around and he gives this message, this medicine to each and every person, right, in a suitable way, so that the patient can acknowledge it and apply it into his life. So there is one more very nice instruction that he gives Narad Muni to Yudhishthira Maharaj in 7th canto, 14th chapter, right? In that last section of 7th canto, there are duties of, like Grihastha, Banaprastha, Sannyas, and Brahmachari. It's given very much in detail. And in that section, right, like especially in the 14th chapter, it talks about the duties of the householder. And so it's given that Gruhesu avasthito rajan kriya kurban yathochita Vasudeva arpanam sakshat upasita mahamunin. He gives three things very beautifully. So he's saying that Gruhesu avasthita rajan, O Yudhishthira Maharaj, whoever is staying in this household life, they should do three things. What? Kriya kurban yathochita. You should do your duty appropriately. You should do your duty appropriately. Second, Vasudevam arpanam sakshat. You offer everything to Lord Vasudeva. Right? And third, upasita mahamunin. Right? Worship the devotees. Dedicate everything of our life, for the devotees. So he talked about the duty, deity, and devotee. So how we should diligently perform our duty, how we should be disciplined, with our deity worship. And third thing is that how we should dedicate our life for the devotees. So now, just to bring these three themes, now we'll just proceed further. So this is the starting. Hare Krishna. Okay. All that was introduction. Okay, no, we'll end on time. So first thing, what is the duty of a householder? So if somebody has decided that yes, I want to approach Nityananda Ashram, not, I don't want to always stay now in this Gauranga Ashram or Gauranga Kuti, what he has to do, first of all thing, get married. So like a suitable boy has to find a suitable girl and get married at the right age, because we have to tell also, find a suitable girl. So many things are happening nowadays, right? And even Mahaprabhu, he has given this very nice in Chaitanya Charitamrita and Adilila. He's saying that Gruhastha hai lama ebe chahi gruha dharma gruhini bina gruha dharma na hoye sabhana. Right? He's saying that yes, now I have decided to be in the Grihastha ashram, I will accept a wife. Right? Right? So that is a mood, right? Like that, I cannot just like so-called live in, or I just go for that. Okay, at certain point of time, I'll find my dream girl and I'll get married. Right? Because yes, like I remember one of my friend, right? Like he was he was my senior in IIT Delhi, and then we also worked together also in the same company, Siemens, and we were there together also in Germany for a long time. And he's from Andhra, of course, nothing specific to Andhra, but like, yeah, like he is just ready. And he was always thinking that, when you want to get married, he had so big list, right? Like, this girl has to be like this, father has to be so much properties, he is so much educated, like, so long list was there. And the year as he was progressing, he was taking out one. And I remember like till as at the age of 40 also he was not married. He had so much of constraint. Believe me, like I'm not just making it up, right? So much of bliss. So like, yes, right, we cannot find a perfect partner, because that perfect person is also looking for a perfect person, because which I'm not. Right? So yes, we might not get what we like, but we have to start liking what we get. Right? This is the simple formula that we have to apply. Right? Because always, especially, of course, all the assembled devotees here, they are so pure, don't know, right? Like, what happens after marriage. But I think who are in the Zoom, they might appreciate more. And I always think, no, because I get married to you, I'm having this problem. Right? It's no, right? How I understand, like we said, there's a first exam we talked about. Like everybody, Mommy was Jiva, everybody is a part and parcel of Lord, right? And everything has been arranged by the Lord for our purification, right? For our progression, for our correction. So how? Yes, it's not that I'm saying that okay, you just get married to whoever you want. Yes, have the proper due diligence. Think about it. Take the blessings. Do all whatever is required. But then, right, accept it. Accept it. Start liking. Right, even like before marriage, you do all that. But after marriage, don't talk about it. That okay, it would have been nice if I would have this or that, right? Stop thinking that, right? Now, because it is really otherwise ruining people's lot of families' life, and we have seen that. They keep on regretting for their whole life. So first thing is that yes, get married at the right age, and then second thing is that yes, start liking what we get. And that's why even Prabhupada also, once he started initiating the hippies, the first thing he said, get married. Then even he had also some strategic thoughts. Then he sent even Mandakini Mataji to get married to Anantasanti Prabhu in Russia, so that the flourishing. Of course, the purpose, like usually he says that the purpose of sannyasi, usually they don't get involved in this marriage, but he had a bigger purpose, so that how they can be engaged in the preaching. So unless we have a stable material life, unless we have a stable this family relationship of husband wife, forget about taking care of others, we cannot take care of ourselves, right? The stable material life is very, very important. Steady family relationship is very important. And the second thing, right, yes, we need to also accumulate wealth. What is it? Right, we said nadanam najanam, and we have to accumulate wealth. Yes, for a grihastha, it is important to do sanchaya. It's not that okay, I'll just get whatever this month and I'll just use it for so many things, and especially in Chaitanya Charitamrita and Bhagavatam, there are so many instances where Mahaprabhu is telling to whom, yes, to whom he is telling. He is telling to Vasudev. Vasudev, he is considered like as a compassionate personification, right? Like he was saying that let me take all the sins of everybody, right, and let all the people get delivered, right? But then, like as Mahaprabhu is telling him that, oh Sivananda, you see, of course he is not giving finance management seminar to Vasudeva. Right? He's saying that, oh Vasudeva, this is once again the benefit of a community. He's saying to Sivananda same, you be Sarakhela of Vasudev Datta, you be the accountant of Vasudev, so that he can take care of his finance appropriately, right? So it is important for us as well, right? Either we take care of ourselves, our finance, or you take somebody's help, to ensure that, right, we save enough money, right, and so that we can get out of this professional life as quickly as possible, and we can dedicate it completely. That is the purpose. It's not the purpose, oh, I want to have, right, bigger and bigger and bigger move, adding zeros in my bank account or in my portfolio, right? But how can I really have that? Of course, once again, there's a big discussion. We don't want to talk about how much is the big enough, right? I should have a good enough, right? And then how can I dedicate my life completely, right? And then anybody else? We talked about Vasudev. Anybody else Mahaprabhu instructs? Even he tells, he was getting surprised, with Srivas Thakur. Srivas Thakur, what is it? You have so many family members and you are not earning anything. How you will take care of your family? Of course, Srivas Thakur, was really at a transcendental state, right? He was in a transcendental state. Oh Lord, what can I do? I just do like this. What is this 3 claps? Right? Oh Lord, I just I do 3 claps. And if I'm hungry for 1 day, I don't do anything. If I hungry for 2 days, we don't do anything. If 3rd days, and also nothing comes after doing these 3 claps, we'll just go to Ganga and but then of course for us, right, we don't have that much of Shraddha. We don't have, we cannot we just see that, oh, you see the bodybuilder, you see pulling 100 kg, and I can also like like myself, no, I first have to get acquainted with the 5 kg, 10 kg, 20 kg, then I'll take care of 100 kg, right? I don't have that much of Shraddha. I don't have that much of faith. I don't have that much of surrender. I cannot say that, okay, I'll leave everything and I'll just start pulling or lifting 100 kg, right? First of all, I need to be honest, right? What much of surrender and faith I have, right? So based on this, right, right, we cannot imitate, right, in some cases as well. But then the important principle what Mahaprabhu is saying to Srivas Thakur is that yes, we have to take care of our family members, right? Or he even talks to Mukunda Sarkar, like with this family, right, from Srikhanda, right, like Narahari Sarkar, Mukunda Sarkar, and Mukunda Sarkar is Raghunandan. So when these 3 members, when like all the Bengal devotees, when they would be moving from Puri, Mahaprabhu would be instructing, right? Oh, Narahari Sarkar, you stay with me and preach. Oh, Raghunandan, you're the son of Mukunda. Now you take care of the deities, this beautiful Radha Gopinath deity that he would be offering and laddus, right? Brother Mukunda, you, what do? You do dhana uparjana, dharma and dhana uparjana, right? Yes, you cultivate more and material wealth and spiritual wealth. Yes, and somebody has to take care, and that's what it says. The Gruhastha means they take care of the other 3 ashramas. All right. So, right, we cannot just just say that, okay. At the same time, we have to be cautious also. How we should not be greedy. Because there is a very thin line once again. Right? How much I do really need and how much I really need. Really like to have more and more. And third point is that which especially, right, after taking up even Krishna consciousness, we get very insensitive towards our parents and our elders, and especially here, especially this is the past time. It's happening in Jagannath Mishra's house, right? And here Vishwarup has already taken sannyas, and one day Mahaprabhu Nimai at that time. He was staying in this house, and he is saying, like somehow he became unconscious because of some reason, and then like after he came conscious, and then he's telling his mother and father, Sachimata and Jagannath Mishra, do you know what happened? What I saw the dream, and I saw in the dream that Vishwarup has come, and he's telling me, come, you also take sannyas, and come with me. But then Nimai is saying that, but you know what I said? No, you go and take, be there happy with the sannyas. I'll be there and to take care of our parents. So I'll be serving my, my mother. Of course, you know what he did later. That's a different thing. Right? He said, I'll take care of my mother Sachi, and I'll take care of my father. And he says, Grahastha hayya kariba pita mata ra sevana ihate tushta havena Lakshmi Narayana. He's saying that, oh, I'll serve my parents, and that's how I'll, please Lakshmi Narayana. And this is the same mood, right? Like of, like even Srila Prabhupada as well, right? How, right? He had so much respect for his father, Gaur Mahandev. Or even Srila Prabhupada, when he was initiating in the first set of devotees in New York, right? Like Brahmananda Prabhu, Garga Muni, and so many were there, right? And like especially Brahmananda Prabhu's and Garga Muni's parents were the first one, and the first parent to come to and see what is happening, there. And then Prabhupada said, thank you very much for coming, right? We really appreciate you coming. And so now your 2 sons are here. So you should also give some money to take care, so that I will take care of them. And then the mother of Brahmananda Prabhu said, I have already given my 2 sons. What else you need? And Prabhupada said, thank you very much. Right, but then, right, he said that because they are the parents of a devotee, Prabhupada said, and I also respected them. And then he told Brahmananda Prabhu and Gargamuni Prabhu also, you offer your respects, you offer obeisances, right? And of course we know that there is one story, right, how one time, Brahmananda Prabhu, he goes, to knock the house of his mother, and mother opens the door, and she didn't see anybody, and then she looked down and see that somebody is lying. He said, what are you doing? All the people around, neighbors, they were looking. No, I'm offering obeisances to you. Please give your blessings. Right? Yes, it is important for us that we should be sensitive, like how, yes, the parents, like Prabhupada says, the parents of the devotees are also glorious because they have given birth, such devotee sons, right? So we should have the utmost regard and grateful, right, to the parents and to the elders, right? Like I remember one devotee, right? Like especially our Vaishnava Seva Prabhu, who is taking care of all this desire tree and so on, Hare Krishna TV and so on, right? And once his spiritual master visited him, and he he really saw that whatever is happening, and at the time Rose's father, he was in a really sick condition for months and years, and initially also his father was very blasphemous, right, to the movement and so on, but over a period of time he realized how beautiful is this, and then he started liking, and he started having respect, and he started following also a little bit. And then, right, when like his spiritual master, he saw that how like he is now taken care nicely by his Vaishnava Seva Prabhu, right? Then while he was leaving, right, like he didn't talk so much about that, oh, you are having so big project of this ISKCON Desire Tree or Hare Krishna TV or this or that. He said, I'm very happy the way you are taking care of your father. Right? Like how small things, right? But like spiritual master, yes, he really appreciates and acknowledges like the big things what you are doing for the pleasure of Srila Prabhupada. At the same time, we should not forget the basics, because that really becomes our hard heart. Our heart becomes hard-hearted if we don't feel our affection and respect for the persons who has given everything to us. How will you feel that affection for others? So it is very important, right, to have that gratitude towards parents. And next, fourth is yes, we talked about Matru Deva Bhava, Pitru Deva Bhava, or Acharya Deva Bhava. Or last thing is Atithi Deva Bhava. Yes, it is an important duty of a Grihastha, or the householder, is to affectionately take care of the guests, right? And how we see that in Mahaprabhu's pastime as well, how he would serve when Isarapuri comes, right, in Gaya or even Navadip, right? He would personally serve. Grihastere Mahaprabhu Sikhaye na dharma atitira seva gruhe sthira mula karma. Atitira seva grihasthara mula karma. Like how he taught that a householder means he should invite, and also he should acknowledge, and he should bring, right, happily, right, whoever the guests come to our house, and especially the Vaishnavas, right? When we see that, right, they're following the mood of, right, like this Atiti Deva Bhava. Once is devotees from Bengal, they would come to Puri, right? Even the king of Odisha at that time, Pratap Rudradeva, he would be so excited that he would tell, right, like Kasi Misra and the inspector of the temple, you see, please take care of them. What he would say, Pratap Rudra Agya Dela Seidu Ijane, to Kasi Misra and to the inspector of the temple, Prabhu Sthane Asiya Chena, Eta Prabhu Gana, like whoever has come to meet now Mahaprabhu, right? We should do Savare Swachanda Vasa, Swachanda Prasada, Swachanda Darsana Karaya, Nahe Yana Badha, like don't create any obstruction, really, ensure that there is a convenient what? Vasa, convenient stay, convenient prasad, and convenient darshan of the Lord Jagannath. Please ensure that. Now, how grateful, because, and then most important thing, he says that Prabhu ro agya paliya duhe savadhana hoiya agya no he tabu koriya ingita bhujiya. So Mahaprabhu will not say anything to you that you do this or that. Just understanding his mood, you should serve. So sometimes the guest might not say, right, what he need or what he wants, but and you understand what he really like to have, and ingita bhujya, understand their mood, what they really like to have. Yes, somebody has come, offer a glass of water and speak some sweet words, ask about what is going on, and try to appreciate them, try to glorify them, and try to ask, how can I serve you, right? Or here, as Prachini Vari says, tell me, how can I progress in my spiritual life? This is so wonderful, right? And here also we see that how even Srila Prabhupada's father, Gaur Mohan De, like he talks about that, right? Prabhupada talks about how my father used to invite so many sadhus every day, they would come, right? Or like following that same, right? Even Sarvam Bhattacharya in Puri, what do? He would have his 30 days booked, right? For inviting the different sannyasis. Of course, first he would say, Mahaprabhu, you come every day to my house, to honor prasad. Mahaprabhu said, are you mad? I'm a sannyasi. I cannot go to one house every day, right? So, okay, you come 20 days. No, I cannot come 20 days. No. Okay, you come 10 days. No, I cannot come on 10. Okay, please come for 5 days. Then, okay, I'll come for 5 days. But then, and I'll ensure that you have 10 sannyasis with you, Paramananda Puri and Sarup Damodar and Vishnu Puri, Krishnan Puri and Narasimha Tirtha and so many, right? All the sannyasis, right? They will come for 2 days each, but Sarup Damodar and Paramananda Puri, they will let them come for, let's say Sarup Damodar he come for 5 days, and Paramananda also Puri also come for 5 days, and so on. Like he had a complete plan, right? How his 30 days is completely booked, right, for the different sannyasis. That's the life of a grihastha. Right? Of course, now because of right, this current situation, it might not be possible, but things are getting better. But yes, we should have that mood. And how can I really invite Vaishnavas to our house? Because just by presence, as we talked about, our heart gets, so much of grateful. Our heart becomes so much fertile to receive the mercy of the Lord. Right? And just to elaborate one more pastime of Prabhupada. So Prabhupada, of course, once he returned from US, and then he was to Bombay, and then he went to a place called Surat. Right? In the Surat, he stayed in a devotee's house, and it was like it's a Bhaguvai Jariwala, right? Like he was a pious person, right? And then when Prabhupada was staying with all his entourage of all these devotees who have come from US, right? Of course, they didn't have, this is the first time they also come to India. They didn't have any Vedic standard, and the way they were following was not really to proper standard cleanliness and so on. But then, right, always, right, like this host, this Bhagavad Jariwala family, they're so grateful serving them, right? And then like even this devotees from outside, they would be sitting, and they would say, oh, hey, please come, please bring something, right? Like in the way they treat also the host might not be so proper standard, right? And then, right, like the family would come and serve twice and thrice, oh, take more, you take more and take more, and like that, right? And then, right, and then the time came for Prabhupada and his disciples to leave. And then this Bhagavad Jariwala, he came and offered his obeisances, and with tears in his eyes, he said, I'm so honored, right, to have all of you in my house, and please forgive me, right, or if any offense I might have committed knowingly or unknowingly. And seeing that, Prabhupada was so affectionately, right, looked into, right, this family, and also he looked back to his disciples. This is the quality of a Vaishnava. This is the quality of a Vaishnava, right? Like you see, like though like so-called our the disciples, they didn't follow the proper standards as well, the proper Vedic standard, forgot about Vaishnava standard, but still he was so much grateful for Prabhupada, right? So not only, right, he was grateful for them coming, but also at that time he offered 51 rupees of envelope, right, to all the devotees as well, right? At that time it was big, right? So how Grihastha should receive the guests, right? And right, and of course, whenever even Prabhupada would tell, right, to Yamuna Mataji, please learn from the host how they're preparing so nice days of. That's how Yamuna Mataji, while visiting all the different hosts, she has prepared this cooking book, right? Okay, so let's go a little fast. So then another is that we talked about living for others, right? Yes, life is not for our sense gratification. Life is meant for, right, giving pleasure to the Lord and his devotees, and also to take care of all the living entities, whatever Lord has given. That's what we see even Sivananda saying while he was traveling, that even would take care of a dog also. And not only that, because Lord would realize that this dog has become so dear to Sivananda Sen, he would deliver him as well. Right? And how, right, like this three families, three couples that Prabhupada sent to London, how they undertook so much of austerities, so that they can carry the message of Prabhupada, they can carry the message of Mahaprabhu, right, and deliver the so-called, aristocratic people in London, right? With so much, what kind of an austerity? So you can read Prabhupada Amrita or Chasing the Rhinos by Samsundar Prabhu and these books, and we realize that what kind of an austerity. Even they were not able to stay together. Also, they didn't have anything proper. They were staying in a sacks, right? Even Samsundar Prabhu, Malati Mataji, they had these small daughters, Saraswati, right? Oh, for what? Right? Okay, how can we really please our spiritual master? By really doing something, for this city, right? And next is really like, how do we live for others? And the next is charity. Yeah, it's important for grihasthas also to do some charity, right? And because everything belongs to Krishna, and therefore we should offer, right, as a service, right, to the rightful owner, right? And that also helps us in increasing the mood of dadati prati grunati, right? We offer something to the Lord, we offer something to the devotees, we offer something to the people, right? Because if you don't give something, this wealth as a sacrifice, right, it will pollute more and more. Right? And sometimes, right, even we say that, oh, we should not give anything to the spiritually poor or the beggars. And there's a nice pastime, that happened in Sudhirgopal near Puri. Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Thakur, he was traveling, Odisha, with his disciples. And then once he came out of the temple, and all the beggars, like especially on the street, right, they were asking, oh, give us money, give us money. And he saw that none of his disciples, especially household disciples, they were not giving anything to anybody, right? And then once they sat together, Bhaktivinoda Thakur with his disciples, he said, like, right, why you are so hard-hearted, right? Please offer something, whatever you have, little bit to them, right? Because yes, right, it's a nature of a grihastha to be open-hearted, not to really close everything and keep, have everything just for my pleasure, right? Yes, like if you think that, okay, they might misuse it properly, give some prasad. That's why, especially our sannyasis and everybody, like if you are really driving them, right, you should ensure that, you should have some prasadam. Otherwise, somebody will be going in the car and there's some street or somewhere, they will be, some people ask, oh, give me something, and you don't have anything. And, sometimes the sannyasis say, what are you doing? You are a grihastha, you should give something. Either you give money or you give some prasad. But we should give some prasad. Or especially in our life, like the way taught by Rupa Goswami and so on, we should give our hard-earned this money or wealth also to to the Vaishnavas, to the project, like the TOVP or the local temple, or whichever way, or the Shastra Dan, like the gift of the knowledge, right? In whichever way, right? Like we should really have that mood that, okay, how can I use it, for the purification of my wealth, and also for the pleasure of the Lord, because it belongs to Him. But also it should not be have that that fruity mentality as well, because with that fruity mentality, with that karma kand mentality, what happens? Right? They also give charity. Like we hear that story in Krishna book. What is that? Right, the Nruga pastime. And he was giving cows, right? And then he gave the cow to one brahmana, and then one cow from that group of cows that he gave it to this brahmana, it came to his house only, and then he gave incidentally that cows also to other brahmana, and then they started fighting. Oh, this is my cow, this is my cow, and then he gave everything, but still they were not satisfied, these two brahmanas, and for that he had to become a lizard. Right? Because he committed a mistake, because his motive was really to gain something, because after giving some charity. But here, like, we are not giving charity to gain something. That's a selfless and offering that we give it. So here, how it's important responsibility of a grihastha as well to give charity. And also let's do some don'ts, right? The don'ts of a grihastha is also, don't be false renunciate. Don't be premature Paramhamsa Vaishnava. Don't have directly, like this, a PhD, premature Paramhamsa devotee, right? And directly, okay, right, it's too much for me, I'll just leave everything and I'll go away. And no, right? Like that's why, Mahaprabhu told again and again to Raghunath Das Goswami, he said, Antare nishtha karo baya loko bevahar, right? And in your heart, you have a strong devotion towards the Supreme Lord, but baya loko bevahar, like, yes, yes, oh, how are you? Thank you very much. Just give a smile to your colleagues or take care of the family. Do the appropriate. Do the needful, right? Right. So, and one time, what happened? One devotee, Mataji, wrote a letter to Srila Prabhupada and said that, Prabhupada, somehow I feel that my husband is not taking care of me, and somehow he's not liking me, right? Always we have a disagree. And then Prabhupada wrote to her that, it's not that whenever, right, your husband likes or agrees, and then you have a nice family life, and he does his duty of protecting and taking care of you. And if he disagrees and dislikes you, it doesn't mean that he will not like you and he will not protect you, he will not take care of you. No, right? And at the same time, for you as well as a wife, right, it's not that whenever you like, you can do whatever you want, right? You have also responsibility towards your husband so that he can progress in Krishna consciousness. So we have mutual responsibility. So don't try to run away from your responsibility of a family life. So it is very important that how we have responsibility, how we maintain the responsibility of a growth life, either in a corporate, like sometimes other I have seen like people, I don't have to work because I am already a devotee, I can just do the minimum. No, like we have to do our work honestly and earnestly, right? Do that because we have to be an example, right? It's not that example means working for 12 hours or 15 hours or 7 days a week. That's what we're not talking about. Do your duty, whatever is given to you, and honestly and earnestly, so that you carry that mood. You become the example that yes, so that we have seen that, right? Sometimes the devotees, because they are not able to do that job properly, in that organization, especially the management, they feel that, oh, like whoever wears kantimala means they are little not okay. They don't do their work. I'll not hire any more kantimalas. Right? Yeah. So we should not, like, not only we are ruining ourselves, we are ruining this the set of devotees as well. But the devotees, how he's so diligent, right? He takes care of his duties also appropriately, because that's what it is, your dharma, right? To do that, that is your conditional duty, to earn money and to do that honestly and earnestly, right? And yes, please, second thing is give up the association of non-devotees. Asasangatyara e Vaishnavachar, Stri Sangi, right? Like, yes, especially it is said that womanizer is more dangerous than the woman, right? How either a grostha or a brahmachari or renunciate, whoever it is, we have to be very careful, right? Meeting with the opposite sex or whoever, right? Meeting with, right, atheist or abhakta, we should be very careful. Yes, we do work at the same time, right? At that time, once you go there, we should bring all our senses inside, and then we should go just like a tortoise, right? And then, yes, antanistha karo, bayalaka vyavahar, and then come back and offer everything to the Lord, right? And then, yes, we have come to Krishna consciousness, we are doing something. Now, at the same time, right, like, yes, once you take especially initiation or once you take the chanting of the whole name, all the sinful activities really gets eradicated, all the results of that, right? But then don't commit that mistakes again, right? And this is the very nice pastime. And Nityananda Prabhu is telling that at Hiranya Pandit's house, when Nityananda Prabhu was sent from Puri, right, to Navadip, to the Bengal area to preach, he came across this place, right? We were staying in Hiranya Pandit's house, and then a group of dacoits, right? They wanted to rob Nityananda Prabhu with from his whatever he was wearing, all the clothes and jewelry and everything. And there's this very beautiful 3 nights robbery story. Right? Maybe that will somebody will discuss during Nityananda Prabhu's appearance day that is coming up in a month. Right? How? Right? They were coming again and again to rob Nityananda Prabhu. Right? But then, because the divine arrangement, right? Later they realized that, oh, he's not an ordinary person, and he's the Balaram. Is the Balaram, and how they surrendered to Nityananda Prabhu and his associates. And Nityananda Prabhu very nicely said, Suna dija eteka pataka kaila tui ara yadina karisa savanimui. If you don't commit any more sinful activities, I'll be responsible for everything what you have. Parahimsa daka churi saba anachara chhadagiya iha tumi na kariha. Parahimsa daka churi, please leave everything. And then most importantly, he says that, yata saba dasyuchara dakiya aniya dharma pathe savare laya tumi gaya. What he said? Whatever the friends you have, dasyu chara dakya, unko bhi bulao. Please call them also, let them also chant here. So that you don't get tempted with your friends. So that all of you come together and take this Krishna conscious movement. Right? How beautiful it is, right? And then how right, like, yes, sometimes we say that, oh, you have become devotees, we can do anything, right? Like a lot of, right, in our first generation, right, a lot of devotees, they fell down because of this. Oh, we can do anything in the name of Krishna consciousness. And Prabhupada said that, like, well, Krishna has given everything to us, we have enough wealth, so don't do any dishonest things, right, just to accumulate some wealth in the name of Krishna, right? Please be honest, whatever we do, right? And then, yes, we should give up all our anarthas of this pride, envy, and so on, because it means we are adding more and more viruses, and would you really like to have that? And we are getting more and more diseased, because we need to really understand that if you feel envious, if you feel that pride, means we are inviting more and more different new viruses into our body. So it's not that we are freeing from viruses, but we are adding them into our life. So yes, through this Omoghas pastime, right, through so many are there, right, through this how we can be really free from this anarthas, right? And yes, this is what we talked about, our duty. Then we'll just very quickly, we'll talk about our deity. Yes, for a grihastha, deity worship is the most important things. Like yes, that's what the Vasudeva Arpanam, right? How because this once you take up this deity worship, how it really helps us really in a lot of things. Like primarily, it helps us in bringing cleanliness. Once again, like we realize and acknowledge the presence of the Lord as the supreme. And third thing is that for everybody, it's a very nice pastime. Like it helps us in removing all the lust in our heart. Right, one time on devotee, on brahmachari devotee, he wrote a letter to Prabhupada. Prabhupada, right, I'm having this lusty desire and I want to get married. So and then Prabhupada wrote, yes, right, yes, you can get married, but it doesn't mean that like you got married and you have a license to do anything, right? It's not a like opposite sex is not a machine. Right, that to satisfy your sex desires, right? But the best way that you can purify your this lusty desire is that you worship the Supreme Lord and perform the deity worship. So once you perform the deity worship, all that anarthas goes away from our heart, and then Prabhupada says it's not Mr. Lust, his father, grandfather, everybody will be killed by Krishna because we are worshipping Madan Mohan. Madan means he smashes the cupid. Right, we have seen this beautiful place, Madanter, or even near it or behind this Krishna Balram temple only. Right, Madanter is different, but this place is different. Right, how Madan, this cupid is smashed by the eyebrow of Madan Mohan. Right, so once we see the glance of Krishna, once we worship deity, then all our desires will really go away. And that's how like even one devotee like Samapriya Mataji, Prabhupada wrote a nice letter, and he said to her that please do three things in your household life. What? Please ensure that you chant your minimum 16 rounds, and you worship this Gaur-Nitai deity that you have received. And three things: study my books. You study my books, right? Just because by studying the books, you'll get the strength and how we should chant and how we should acknowledge that everything belongs to Gaur-Nitai. Right? Yes, it's important for us. Like how we should have, especially we don't have time, but you can just read. Like we are talking about the duties of householder life, and especially from 14th chapter of 7th canto, in this 3rd and 4th verse, Prabhupada is given a very nice purport, right, which really talks about right how right we should like I'll just read 2 lines. The Krishna conscious movement has been established to give grihasthas all over the world an opportunity to hear Srimad Bhagavatam and Bhagavad Gita specifically. Right, like once we are hearing this Punya Sravana Kirtana, this Bhagavad Gita and Bhagavatam and all the scriptures, right, it really purifies our heart. Right, and then once we take everything as a prasadam, so we can read. And Prabhupada saying that it's not that once you read Bhagavad Gita or Bhagavatam, it's enough. In that verse, it is avikshanasha, means we should read again and again and again. We should read continuously. And then yes, deity means the deity. Deity means Bhagavatam. Deity means the chanting. For us, deity is the chanting of the holy name. How Mahaprabhu would say that how you should be Laksheswara. Right? So if you want to invite me for prasad, but then the brahmanas and all the devotees in Puri, they could really, bewildered. Oh Lord, how can we get this 100,000 coins, right? And how can I really invite you? No, I'm not talking about gold coins, right? I'm talking about only once you chant, right? So Lakhya Naam, 1 lakh names or 64 rounds, then only I will come. It's there in Chaitanya Bhagavata. प्रभु बोले जन लक्षेश्वर बोली करे प्रतिदिन लक्ष्य नाम जे ग्रहण करे से जनर नामे आमी बोली लक्षेश्वर अथ भिक्षामर न जाए अन्य ग्रह. I will not go to any other house. If you chant 100,000 names, then I will come. Yes, it's so powerful. And one more important thing, and as a part of the deity worship is taking care of Tulasi. That how all the members of Tulasi, they take care of Tulasi very nicely, because she can really give bhakti, she can really give us strength, she can really give, empower us. That's how Prabhupada, even the West also, like where there is so much cold and snow, he encouraged them, especially Govinda Mataji, right? Like how she brought up how to even grow tulasi even these so difficult countries, right? And how so important in our life, the presence of, like we talk about, deity, right? We talked about Bhagavatam chanting and tulasi. This is so important in our life, right? And next is that devotees. We can speak so much, right, about how, right, we should serve the devotees, how we should dedicate our life for the devotees. For a grihastha, yes, it is very, very important, right, to have somebody, right, like as a guide, as a mentor, like as a spiritual master, right, as a Siksha Guru and Diksha Guru, so that we are so that, because especially in a brahmachari ashram there is somebody to take care, right, there's somebody to chastise. But in a grihastha ashram we feel that, oh, I'm the enjoyer, I'm the controller, I don't have anybody to report to, I don't need to be accountable to anybody. But here, like, once you're accountable to somebody, once you have some Siksha Guru, we can really approach them, right? Okay, right, this is what is right and wrong, what can I do, right? And Prabhupada, and even Prabhupada also has written so many letters, right, to his disciples, that he would say that, please consult your elder god brothers and sisters, please consult, right? You consult, Hayagriva, you consult, Samsundar Prabhu or Malati Mataji, you can consult Satsurup, right? Like, why? Because here at that time also, it's not that everybody was directly writing the spiritual master or Prabhupada. Yes, Prabhupada was, right, has written maybe more than 10,000 letters to addressing, but at the same time he had thousands and thousands of disciples, right, and hundreds and thousands of problems with each of them, right? And then he said, okay, please read my books and please consult your brothers and sisters, they are there. And like, yes, because that's the way, right? Like, Mahaprabhu, right, he taught, like, how to serve Iswarapuri, how you are serving. When the Bengal devotees would come, he would give the chandan lep and garlands and everything. He would be serving, he would be really taking care, right? He would be taking permission of the Sarvam Bhattacharya, Gopinathacharya, who are the grihasthas, before going for yatra, right? That's how it is, right? Because yes, it really brings us another mood of humility, it brings us the mood of surrender, right? How, right, we should, and just this Pratap Rudra case also, right? Like, once he saw that how he's serving the devotees, how he's sweeping the cart in that humble mood, then, right, like Mahaprabhu, in some way or other, he really granted his mercy. And there's so many pastimes in Chaitanya Charitamrita, right, to talk about how Sivananda said he was taking care of the devotees, right? Or how that Kalidas, right, he was taking the remnants of Jadu Thakur and so many Vaishnavas, right? Yes, we should do that Vaishnava Seva with so much care, right? It's not that, okay, right, I just invite and I can do anything, right? So it is important for us to serve the Vaishnavas, because we cannot directly reach the stomach, right? Yes, we were giving the stomach, all our body gets purified, but we cannot do surgery and give it to stomach, right? We have to give it through mouth, right? Or if you want to give it to, right, like, yes, we should water the root, right, so that all the tree will get benefited. But it's not that we just dig the mud and then, oh, where is the root, I'll give the water. No, you have to give to the soil. The soil means the devotees. You have to serve Krishna. Yes, you have to serve. You cannot directly serve Krishna, you have to serve the devotees. Right? So it is very important for all of us, that how do you serve only by serving the devotees, right? Only by pleasing them, only by right, somehow or other seeking and begging for their mercy, right? We can really get benefited, right? And then, yes, once we have that, then how we can really share and share with others, how you can teach by example, and how the mood of Vasudev Datta, once again, there are so many devotees, how Prabhupada showed that, Jare Dekho Tare Ko Krishna Upades, the teaching to Kurma Brahmana, right? And with that word, Kavuna Badhive Tomara Visaya Taranga, Punaravi Aithane, Pave Mara Sangha. By preaching, by taking care of others, right? And then what will happen? Kavuna Badhive Tomara Visaya Taranga. You will not get bewildered by all this, waves of senses that might attack you. You'll be free from that. So yes, increasingly, right, we have to intensify our bhajan, intensify our bhajan, not bhojan. Right? Yes, we have to reduce our bhojan as we grow up, but we have to intensify. We have to increase the intensity of our dedication to the devotees. So, and that's what we can see from Bhaktivinoda Thakur. He would say that Jedina Dehe, Jedina Gruhe, Bhajana Dekhi, Growete Goloka Bhaya. And then we can really make our house, as a Golok, as a Vrindavan. Yes, it's up to us to transform, right, whatever we have, what are the material components we have, to the spiritual energy. So once again, we don't have to be a magician. We have to just follow the scriptures. We have to follow, the Mahaprabhu and his associates, so that we can make our life also perfect. And Bhaktivinoda Thakur is a right example for all of us to follow. Hare Krishna. So yes, we talked about how we should be diligent in our duties. We talked about how we should discipline in our deity worship. Once we talk about deity worship, yes, we take care of the deities. We should take care of Bhagavatam. We should take care of the chanting. We should take care of the lesson. And then we talked about how we should dedicate our life for the devotees in so many ways, so that our life gets purified and everything gets Krishnized, and our life becomes an offering. Then we don't feel entangled, but we get enlightened, being properly engaged. Hare Krishna. Thank you very much.
So, who will be doing the notes? Yugal Kishore.
I don't know.
So, Prabhu is not there.
Okay.
Yugal Kishore, who? Hare Krishna. So let us thank His Grace Sudhirgopal Prabhu, and let us pray for him. It was a very, very wonderful class. I was just thinking during the class that this should be the class, for all the young devotees who want to get married, and also the ones who are already married. Thank you very much, Prabhuji. So let us chant Hare Krishna Mahamantra, praying for Prabhu's good health and very, very fast spiritual progress. Let's pray Hare Krishna Mahamantra. Hare Krishna, Krishna Krishna, Hare Hare, Hare Ram, Hare Hare. So we'll go for Narsimha Arati now.
Yes, Prabhu, Hare Krishna, just one more announce. I got late. I was just trying to unmute and get onto the screen. Yeah. So, yes. As you said that's very nicely His Grace Sudhirgopal Prabhu, and especially the summary was that how the D cube. I was thinking the D cube, the duties, the deity worship, and the devotee service are very important aspect of the Vaishnava's life, and Prabhu has very nicely summarized that. And as usual, he flavored with the Chaitanya Leela. Chaitanya Charitamrita and Chaitanya Leela is so favorite for him, and always connecting to this. So thank you very much, Prabhu. One announcement that Siksha ceremony will be on the 14th of February. The day is known for expressing our love, and it's a time to express our love for Srila Prabhupada and Lord Sri Krishna. So this is the time that we can upgrade our Siksha. So if you would like to upgrade, please inform your Bhakti Vriksha leader. And if you are a Bhakti Vriksha, please make sure that the registrations are done well before next weekend. That is 24th of Jan. So the last day for registration is 24th of Jan. So please make sure that we register for Bhakti Vriksha members before 24th of Jan. And the Siksha ceremony will be on 14th of February, Sunday. So that's all, Kartikeya Prabhu. So we'll have Narsimha Arati.
Namaste Narasimhaya. Namaste Narasimhaya. Pranadalaya